The night Marcus decided to try again, the rain fell like the sky itself was warning him to stay home. His palms were sweating as he stood outside a small Italian restaurant in downtown Columbus, Ohio, staring at his reflection in the glass. He wasn't nervous about the food or the place. He was terrified of hope. Hope had disappointed him before. And as a single father who had spent the last 4 years rebuilding his life after his wife's sudden passing, disappointment felt heavier than ever. Before we step into what happened next, take a moment right now. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, in love finding us when we least expect it, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Marcus hadn't been on a date since the funeral. Between working long hours as a mechanic and raising his 7-year-old son, Oliver, his world had shrunk to school lunches, bedtime stories, and quiet evenings filled with memories he didn't ask for. His sister, Natalie, had insisted on setting him up with a friend from her office. "You deserve happiness," she had told him. He wasn't sure he agreed, but he had nodded anyway. Inside the restaurant, warm light glowed against polished wood floors. Couples leaned close across candlelit tables. Laughter floated gently in the air. Marcus checked his watch. 7 minutes late. 10. 15. He tried to ignore the tightening in his chest. Finally, a message buzzed on his phone. A short apology. Something about, "not ready for this," and, "too complicated." No offer to reschedule. No explanation. Just an exit that he stared at the words until they blurred. It wasn't anger he felt, it was confirmation. Confirmation that maybe he was, in fact, too complicated. A widower with a child wasn't exactly the easy beginning most people dreamed about. He imagined Oliver at home with Natalie, probably asking if Daddy was having fun. Marcus swallowed hard. He didn't want to go home yet. He didn't want to face those hopeful eyes with another silent failure. He signaled for the check even though he hadn't ordered. The waiter gave him a look of quiet understanding. Marcus stood, adjusting his jacket, trying to gather what little dignity he had left. That was when he heard it. "Excuse me, you can sit here." He turned. At the table beside his, a woman sat alone, her dark curls falling over one shoulder, her expression gentle but steady. There was something about her gaze, not pity, not curiosity, just simple kindness. Her name, he would later learn, was Rachel. At first, Marcus hesitated. Pride can be louder than loneliness. But something in him was tired of walking away. He sat. They didn't start with dramatic confessions or rehearsed small talk. They began with honesty. Rachel admitted she had been stood up too. Her blind date had texted 5 minutes before arriving, claiming an emergency. She had laughed it off, but her eyes revealed the sting. Two strangers, both abandoned in the same room, found themselves sharing breadsticks and awkward smiles. As the minutes passed, the awkwardness softened. Marcus spoke about Oliver, about how he insisted on wearing mismatched socks because they make life interesting. He spoke about how losing his wife, Hannah, had shattered him in ways he never imagined. He described nights when the house felt too quiet, when he would sit on the edge of Oliver's bed just to hear him breathe. Rachel listened. Really listened. She didn't rush him or try to fix his grief. She shared her own story too, how she had moved to Ohio from North Carolina after ending a long engagement that had slowly drained her sense of self. She spoke of rebuilding confidence, of learning to sit alone in restaurants without feeling invisible. The rain outside intensified, streaking the windows. But inside that small corner of the restaurant, something fragile and warm began to grow. Not fireworks. Not instant romance. Something steadier. Marcus found himself laughing, a real laugh, the kind that surprised him. He couldn't remember the last time that had happened with someone new. Rachel's smile deepened every time Oliver's name came up, not with hesitation but with interest. She asked questions about his favorite subjects in school, about his favorite superheroes. When the restaurant began closing, neither of them had noticed the time. They stepped outside together. The rain had softened to a mist, the city lights reflecting on wet pavement like scattered stars. Marcus felt lighter, but also afraid. He had felt hope before. It had cost him dearly. Rachel didn't promise forever. She didn't speak in grand declarations. She simply said she was glad she had stayed. That she believed sometimes the wrong table leads you to the right one. Over the next weeks, they met again, at parks, at coffee shops, at a small diner near Marcus's house. Eventually, Rachel met Oliver. That meeting mattered more than any date. Marcus watched carefully as his son showed Rachel his collection of toy dinosaurs. Rachel knelt on the living room floor, giving each dinosaur a dramatic introduction as if they were royalty. Oliver laughed so hard he fell backward onto the carpet. That night, after Rachel left, Oliver looked up at Marcus with serious eyes and said he liked her because she doesn't look scared. Marcus knew exactly what he meant. Healing didn't happen overnight. Marcus still had moments when grief ambushed him, when memories of Hannah flooded his mind without warning. Rachel never tried to replace the past. Instead, she respected it. She asked about Hannah sometimes, not out of comparison but out of understanding that love doesn't disappear, it expands. 1 year later, Marcus found himself back at that same Italian restaurant. Not for a blind date. Not for a rescue. But for a celebration. Rachel sat across from him, her hand resting gently over his. Oliver sat between them, swinging his legs under the table, excited about dessert. Marcus realized something powerful that night. His blind date hadn't gone terribly. It had gone exactly as it needed to. Because sometimes rejection is redirection. Sometimes being left standing is what positions you to see who is willing to invite you to sit. If this story has touched your heart, if you've ever believed that life can surprise you in the most broken moments, please take a second to like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement helps spread stories of hope and healing. And before we end, I have one special request. Comment the word "second chance" below if you believe love can find you when you least expect it. Marcus once thought he was too complicated for a new beginning. But sitting at the wrong table led him to the right person. And sometimes, all it takes to change a life is a simple, quiet invitation: sit here.